I'm teaching you how to lead, how to survive. And to do that, you're going to have to fight.
Hello there. This is Darth Christensen, and welcome to another Star Wars video. And Anakin and Obi Wan's duel on Mustafar in Revenge of the Sith is easily the best lightsaber duel of all time, and it's also one of the most iconic moments in all of Star Wars history. As a culmination of 2 decades of storytelling, with Anakin and finally he completing the transformation once Obi Wan defeated him and went on the high ground, which cemented his role as Darth Vader. But why exactly did Anakin lose? Because when Palpatine was so sure that Anakin would win. Well, in this video, I wanted to go through all the list of reasons for why Anakin actually lost. Because, as stated in the Revenge of the Sith novel, Anakin was getting stronger and stronger as the fight was going on. But as I'll talk about more about later, it was Anakin's arrogance and also the fact that he was conflicted throughout the entire fight is what caused as Obi-Wan to get the better of him. So the first thing that we have to consider is that Anakin was conflicted in this fight, and you can see that he didn't have yellow Sith eyes as the whole time when he was fighting Obi-Wan, the same way he had Sith eyes when he was killing the Separatists, because Anakin had a full-blown hatred for everyone in the Confederacy, which is why in his fight with Dooku at the beginning of the movie, Anakin tapped into his dark side because he was pissed off that Dooku ragdolled Obi-Wan, and also. And so when Anakin tapped into his hatred, he was fully committed to killing Dooku, because as he had hated Dooku, he had absolutely fucking hated Dooku all throughout the Clone Wars, and that was sort of like a catharsis, and his chance for to finally kill the Sith Lord he had hated for so long. And also, Anakin also hated the Separatists, which is why he completely let it out after he went in full dark side, and that his eyes turned Sith yellow because he was fully using his hatred against them. But in his fight with Obi-Wan, he was still fighting his brother. And he was conflicted about what was going on. He was definitely, Anakin was definitely pissed off after he thought Padme had brought Obi-Wan to Mustafar with him to betray him. But he was still conflicted as Obi-Wan was still his brother. And also, a big reason for why Anakin and Obi-Wan's lightsaber strikes were so precise, and they were hitting each other or his blades on every single clash, is because, as obviously Obi-Wan was Anakin's master, so he trained him in every way. And plus, Obi-Wan was the master. Obi-Wan was the absolute master of the defensive lightsaber combat form, Sorisu. Sorisu was designed for defensive purposes, and it has also meant to overwhelm and tire out an opponent. Whereas Anakin used Gem Soho, used Gem Soho, which is more like aggressive, heavy striking on the offensive. So the fact that Anakin and Obi-Wan were the two epitomes of offensive and defensive lightsaber combat is a major reason for why the fight lasted so long. And another big reason why I think this was actually explained in lore is because as Anakin was, ever since he was a Padawan, Anakin was absolutely obsessed with Obi-Wan's fight on Darth Maul and Naboo in the Phantom Menace, because as he would talk about how Kenobi at the time was the first Padawan who defeated a Sith Lord, until Maul came back. But Anakin always asked Obi-Wan for specifics about the duel, and even when he was a Padawan in one of the comic books, Anakin programmed his own training droid to make it have the same exact movements and strikes as Darth Maul, so he can study the fight with Obi-Wan. So when Obi-Wan got the high ground, Anakin actually thought Anakin tried to use the same move that Obi-Wan did to cut Maul in half by jumping over him, but it ultimately didn't work out for him because Obi-Wan wasn't as arrogant as Anakin was, his emotions were torn. So, like I said earlier, and also I think Hayden himself actually confirmed this earlier this year or at a con, and I'll put the clip up right here.
Why did you jump? Why did I jump? Yes. The arrogance of youth. And I also like to think that there was like this sort of, lore within the Jedi, that when Obi Wan defeated Darth Maul had the high ground, and he did this amazing flip, and so I like to think that they talked about that, and it was like this, big deal. And so like Anakin, in the back of his head, he hears Obi Wan say like, "I have the high ground." He's like, I'm gonna show him. And it just didn't play out the way he had hoped.
And now we know.
So Anakin was upset. Anakin was upset as with Obi-Wan's fight with Darth Maul and Naboo, and that's why he was so full of himself, and he was very full of himself, and he thought that in that moment he could beat Obi-Wan with his own move, but ultimately it backfired on him. Another reason why Obi-Wan beat Anakin was because Obi-Wan had to briefly let go of his attachment to Anakin at the end of the fight, because he still saw because in order to win the fight, Obi-Wan didn't need to look at Anakin as his brother and his former Padawan anymore. Or rather, he saw him as the new Sith Lord, Darth Vader, and ultimately he had to let go of that for a brief moment when he cut off Anakin's legs and arm. And the same thing briefly happened. The same thing happened also in Obi-Wan and Vader's fight in the Kenobi show. Because Vader also lost because he was so upset with hunting Obi-Wan, and that's what ultimately led Obi-Wan and had overcome and beat him again and cut open his helmet and went to reveal Anakin's face inside. So that's why Palpatine persuaded Vader to stop looking for Obi-Wan. And so those are basically all the reasons for why Anakin lost to Obi-Wan on Mustafar, or despite the fact that he was the better lightsaber duelist and also stronger under the Force, because Anakin was emotionally conflicted, which is what imbalanced his fighting style. And Obi-Wan trained Anakin, and so he knew him all too well, which is also the reason why Palpatine thought that he lost, since Palpatine was like absolutely fucking shocked that Anakin lost, and he was pretty disappointed in him. But that's another big reason. Anakin tried to use the same move that Obi-Wan used to cut Darth Maul in half on Naboo, but it backfired on him. And also they were like the two best as offensive and defensive duelists, which is why Obi-Wan ultimately he tired Anakin out at the end. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is like my breakdown on Obi-Wan and Anakin's fight, and I wanted to give out all the explanations possible for why Anakin lost. And I thought now would be the best time, because since Revenge of the Sith is coming back into theaters in April 25th this year, and I can't fucking wait to see that, bro. I'm definitely going to show up to the theater wearing my Anakin robes, and I'm so excited to see the duel on Mustafar on the big screen. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good rest of your day. May the Force be with you. Always. If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Yes, the one we've been looking for. How do you know this? He knows the ways of the Force. He's been trained to use the dark side. Are you sure? Absolutely.